As a junior, we might tend to make mistakes, which is common, which even I did, and I wanted to share it with you. Make sure that you visit your office, greet your senior, get to have a talk, and which court you are going on. Make sure that you take up your bundle and reach the particular court. Do not mislead the court by stating something which is not there in the brief. A very warm good evening, everyone. So today we are gonna look into things which we should be following inside the courtroom. So what are the things which we may or may not do in the courtroom, which is not known to the new lawyers? As a junior, we might tend to make mistakes, which is common, which even I did, and I wanted to share it with you so you can avoid it or you can avoid it depending upon what I'm going to share with you. So, the first thing, always be punctual. Reach the courtroom as early as possible. Make sure that you visit your office, greet your senior, get to have a talk, and which court you are going on, and then reach the chamber at least before 10. Make sure that you take up your bundle and reach the particular court for which your work is assigned, and get to have a small discussion with your senior and get your instructions and reach the courtroom as early as possible. Second thing is, after reaching the courtroom, make sure that you get yourself properly seated, or if it is too crowded, make sure that you are in a visible state where you can get to hear what are the case that has been called so far and what is going on. Just get to inquire what is the item number which is being called on, and check with your brief, like check with your case file whether the number has been called or is it the next thing which is going to be called. So once you ensure that the number is not yet called, be alert. Never think about anything else and be cautious whether the case is being called. Get to ask with other fellow lawyers whether the case which is being called up is stage wise or year wise or depending upon the IAs or OS. And the next thing is that after getting your bundle, make sure that you go through the files and check if you have any doubts. If in case you have any doubts and you think you should contact your senior and get an instruction, make sure that you have adequate time to communicate the same with your senior or your fellow colleague, and try to get out of the courtroom and call them and ask them what can be done if it is very serious and you need a proper instruction over there. And next thing is that when the case is being called on, whether ask yourself whether you are presenting for the petitioner or for the respondent. Make sure that you are very thorough with the fact, and at least if it is for getting a date, you just present yourself in a better way and be confident there, so that the judge may assess that you are well aware about the case and will give you the date. If the date has to be placed on a particular day, make sure that you discuss with your senior and get it done in the right way. And after checking with the case, if someone, be it an apprentice or fellow junior or anyone unknown, gets to approach you and gives you with a case bundle, make sure that you read the brief and you represent it in a proper way. Do not mislead the court by stating something which is not there in the brief. After getting to present your case, get to listen what the judge is saying and note down the day on which the next hearing is made. And after the case is over, make sure that you stay back and observe a while before you move on to the next case if you are not given with another case. If your case has been assigned in a way that which is tight, like if you are given with 2-3 files and you have to move from one court to another, make sure that you are quick enough to move from one place to other. And if the case is being called on at the same time, make sure that you give your file to someone else and you brief them and ask them to represent it while you are present in another court. You cannot be present in the same time in different courts. So make sure that you start to make friends among the juniors and seek help when you are needed of it. If you feel you cannot represent a case for some other counsel, just politely deny that. Tell them that you already are given with a few bundles and you have to represent in the particular court. Or if they insist upon you and ask you for help, just tell that you can do so only till the number which is being called. For example, if your number is OS 207 or 208 of 2018 or 19, make sure that in what order the case has been called. If it is called year wise and if it's your case is on 2019, make sure that you are able to present the case which is before yours, not after yours or during your year. So this might avoid confusions. This can be practically be experienced, but if you are well aware about this before getting into the hall or when you are making your first representation, this might come in handy with you. So do not take up unnecessary bundles from other juniors, because those juniors might be in a hurry and they won't be able to brief you with the facts or about the case, and you might be cross questioned by the judge and you might be put to shame if you are not aware about what case you are going to present there. So do not take unnecessary bundles. Make sure that you are completely free and no one would notice or question you. If that's the case, then you can definitely take up the case of other councils and you can represent it and you can ask for a date or whatever next step which they think that has to be done over there in the court hall. And foremost thing, if there is a passover session and you have to stay back in the court, wait till the judge completes and try to present it as early as possible when the case is called. If it is a session after the lunch, make sure that you don't take a heavy meal and you doze off in the court. It is very wrong and it would be of a discouraging nature if you do that. Like, you may be spotted by your senior or your colleagues or anyone else from the courtroom or outside the courtroom, and it will be brought up and it will be gossiped everywhere that you are a sleeper who sleeps in the court hall and you doze off after the lunch. So that will bring you a bad name. And after your meals, make sure that you reach the court hall prior to the time and make sure that the judge has not had his seat there. If you reach there early, make sure that you go through the file or you stay out of the hall or you walk ahead, do some activities so that you don't feel sleepy. Once the judge reaches there, make sure that your phones are put to silent and do not take out your phones. Getting to use your phone inside the court hall will bring the notice of other people who are around you and including the judge. If you are noted down, they will definitely get to inquire that whose junior you are. It will be ultimately brought to your senior's point, and then he'll start to give you some advice, or probably he'll just consider that you are not efficient enough. After working out in the court, if it's the afternoon session, just get out of the court hall and move to the library. Get to spend some time in library and find out what you can read there, what is relevant to you, and please don't go for Supreme Court or High Court cases directly. Instead, just get to go through those basic rules and acts which is essential for you to know. If you are working with a civil lawyer, get to go through the files and bundles which is there in your office. Take prior permission from your senior and then you do so. When you are in the court campus, make sure that you maintain some decorum and decency so that other people who get to notice you think that you are a better and a clear person. So these are some things which you should keep in your mind before you enter into the court hall. While you move from one court to another court, make sure that you go in a proper and slow manner and don't rush up. If you feel rushed up or if you feel nervous, you won't be able to present the next case in the proper time, or at least you will get to miss it. If there is any mishappenings or any sort of confusions in the courtroom, and if you get to encounter them, just make sure that you reach the office as early as possible and bring it to the notice of the senior in a polite and proper way. Do not involve your colleagues in this and make it a fuss. Probably you will be cornered, or you will be called that you are not careful in your work, or anything of that sort might happen. So these are some minimal points which we should get into mind when we are going to present the case. And when you are resting, when you feel tired, just make sure that you seek the permission of your senior and get to rest it the bar council's hall or any recreation rooms which is available, and not inside the court hall or not inside the chamber. Make sure that no one else gets to notice that you are sleeping or you are in rest, because as an upcoming lawyer this will bring you down and it will make a black mark in your career. So these are some points that has to be remembered. Hope this is useful for you. Let's get to meet in another video. Please do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching.